almost unfelt, opaque, impenetrable, in the somber symbol of her eyeless muse, the vision of the unbodied infinite, a fathomless zero occupied the world. A fathomless zero occupied the world. In this somber symbol of her eyeless muse, her, who is she? Her. That in her eyeless muse is the unbodied infinite. Who is she? This is the description of the night. Night with a mind, who is lying stretched in her unlit temple. She is a goddess. She is lying in her unlit temple. And in her eyeless muse, in her unseeing thoughts and moments and contemplations, ideas, she does not see things, but she is there, and it is in her that the unbodied infinite is present. Almost unfelt, opaque, impenetrable. Yes, such is the thickness of the night, such is the opacity of the night, such is the stiffness, rigidity of night, that no ray of light can enter into it. No ray of light can be present in her temple. Such is she there, almost one felt. One felt. Who is one? To feel that no light can be present, can penetrate into the temple. Who is one? Well, what does he feel first? He feels that she is housing the unbodied infinite himself. Unbodied infinite, a vision of the unbodied infinite. That is what she is housing. Essentially, what has happened is, well, there is the obscurity, there is the unconsciousness, there is the insensibility, there is immobility, there is lifelessness, there is no movement. It is a fathomless zero. It is a mystic void. It is shunya. It is a mystic shunya. It is an occult shunya. How has this happened? It happened when from the divine himself, the four powers of creation went away from him. They started moving away from him. The four powers of creation, when they started moving away from him, they went so far away from the divine, from the source from which they had come. They went so far away from the source from which they had come that they turned into their opposites. What was consciousness became unconsciousness. Consciousness turned into inconscience. Bliss turned into suffering and pain and misery and anguish. Truth became falsehood, and life met death. It turned into their opposites. Consciousness became inconscience. Bliss became suffering. Truth became falsehood. Life became death. This is the result of the separation of the four powers from the divine source. These ancient gods, early gods, Purvi Devasa, possibly Aryamanam, Bhaga, Varuna, Mitra, the four great powers of the Supreme, Aryamanam, Bhaga, Varuna, Mitra, when they went far away from the divine source, they turned into their opposites, into inconscience, suffering, falsehood, and death. That is the divine plunge. That is the divine disappearance, rather. It's not divine plunge, it is divine disappearance. The divine disappeared from himself. He became the void, empty of any content. All that was there in him, the bliss, the truth, the life, the consciousness, all became first void and turned into their opposites. That is the divine plunge and the divine disappearance. And therefore, this one who felt that there is opacity, there is impenetrability for the light to enter in, when he felt it is the divine who had plunged into the inconscient void, it is he who feels that. The one, almost one felt, opaque, impenetrable. He himself feels that. It is the being in the void who feels it. He becomes a witness Purusha, a Sakshi Purusha. He notices it, he observes that, he feels that this is what has happened, that there is darkness, there is opposition, there is something which is not desirable, but which has happened. The separation producing the opposites of their powers. Bliss, truth, life, consciousness, turning into their opposites. But turning into their opposites is itself a creative act. It is the creative act of the Creator himself, of Brahma, the Creator, by the power of his tapas, of extreme concentration, of extreme withdrawal into himself. Brahma, the Creator, is withdrawing himself into himself, so that no faculty is coming out there. It is that disappearance of Brahma into himself that is the fathomless void. Fathomless void is that Brahma who has withdrawn totally, completely from himself, and that he has done by the power of concentration, by the yoga tapasya of withdrawal, of focusing everything into himself, that nothing is left out, that nothing is left out, that is the void. But it is that Brahma's void which is now the starting point of the new creation. Brahma is present in that void. It is that urge, that desire, that possibility in the void which is sown there, it is that which gives rise to a new creation. In our experience of the inconscience, as revealed by the Mother in her New Year message of 1959, she tells us at the very bottom of the inconscience, at the very bottom of the inconscience, most hard and rigid and narrow and stifling, I struck upon the Almighty Spring. I struck upon the Almighty Spring that cast me up forthwith. She struck upon the Almighty Spring, and it cast her up forthwith into a formless, limitless, vast, brahat, formless, limitless world, and that was vibrating with the seeds of a new world. Yes, that is the beginning of the new world. That is the appearance of the divine events proceeding towards the new world. At the very bottom of the inconscious, most hard and rigid and narrow and stifling, I struck upon the Almighty Spring that cast me up forthwith into a formless, limitless, vast, vibrating with the seeds of a new world. That is our experience. It is that beginning which is what we have got here. A fathomless zero occupied the world. Fathomless zero, it is a pregnant zero with the full possibility of the new creation emerging out of this zero, out of this pregnant shunya. That is the womb of the new creation. This void which is now present, it is a ruthless void. It is ruthlessly hungry. Its mouth is going to swallow everything that will form. Ruthless, hungry mouth, that is what has now happened here. That's the void. It is ruthless and hungry because it is void of the Absolute Himself, or the Supreme Himself. So it has the full capacity to swallow whatever will be formed, will be created here. It is in that void that this night is musing. Yes, what should happen? What should be done? What are my prospects to move forward? Therefore, she is not aware of it. She is not able to see this thing. So, with an eyeless muse, in an eyeless muse, she is trying to see what could be the new things that can emerge. Eyeless muse, she is absorbed in blind thought. She is in a mood of strange contemplation. She is deliberating. She is pondering over the matters, over things, how things can move forward. She is engrossed in deep-seated idea, of the unbodied infinite. Infinite is here without any form, without any name, without body. The infinite is here, unbodied infinite. That is the fathomless zero. The depth of the zero cannot be gauged, cannot be plumbed, because it is the depth of the Supreme Himself. It is the zero, the Supreme Himself, and one cannot gauge, plumb the depth of the Supreme. It is from non-manifest, from the avyakta state, the pure absolute, that something went out and brought about the supreme void, the total unmanifest. From the total non-manifest has emerged the total unmanifest. That is the definition of the fathomless zero, the total unmanifest. It is the occult zero, which is the beginning of the creation. The Supreme felt himself alone, and in order to have company, in order to have friends, the best mechanism which he found for himself was to disappear first from himself, and out of that bring out a multiplicity, the companions which he needed, which he longed for. It is out of the void that a new creation would arise and would emerge. It may be a process, long and tortuous, but that is a wonderful mechanism which the Supreme has found to be many. He wants to be many, and how can one become many? The only way is dissolve yourself fully, disappear from yourself fully at one, and then out of that bring out many. It is in that sense, zero is a fathomless zero. All was one felt, opaque, impenetrable, in the somber symbol of her eyeless mute abysm of the unbodied infinite. A fathomless zero occupied the world.